Hello there, and welcome to my garden. Yep, it's Kate in the nest, but it is nearly springtime and the countdown is on. So I've been talking about spring for a while, and I've bought out of Hibernation my one flower at a time quilt, which needs further adornment. So today I'm going to be stitching along, and I hope you can stitch along too. I thought I'd just remind you, or if you're new here, this is a supper cloth that I started embellishing in my one flower at a time style. This is the little sister of the quilt that is still touring around Australia as a finalist in the Australian quilt competition. So much, much, much smaller, just almost like, yeah, a third. Uh, and in my usual way, I have given myself rules that you keep the original embroidery, but you add one flower literally at a time from thrifted or gifted vintage embroideries. This one is different in that really I don't think I've used any other additional fabrics. It's all completely embroideries. So what have I done? Well, let's talk about out of hibernation first. So daffodils, the sign of spring, are bursting. I love this bow and I love this bird. I'm going to focus on how to get this bird to pop. She's being a little bit going into the background at the moment, so that's a task. I've started working the spaces around her with lots of French knots. I've started bringing out some of these embroideries with different sorts of techniques. And down here, my favorite thing of the month is my beading. So there's going to be beads and embellishment, and maybe even a oop, can't find the one I want. Even a bug. You won't be able to see that in there, but that's the treasuring. Okay, back to normal size. How do I make that happen? About there. And I'm going to sit down and we're going to stitch. So I'm hoping you are well, just like springtime here. Many of you in the Northern Hemisphere will be getting into fall or autumn. So I'm wishing you a happy change of the season wherever you are and whatever you're feeling. Okay, so I have threaded up in advance some perle cotton. This is variegated to a knot. And when you're gardening, well, this is how I do it. I love to flit from one area to another. So it's never boring and you always notice something different. So what I'd like to do is, you can see here, let's start with this. I've got this flower that really was white in between, so just the pink. I don't know whether I've got another one of it. But what I've been doing as my further adornment is adding stitches to the white spaces. So just to give it more colour, a little bit of pop. And it's really like a sampler as I do this. I experiment. Everything works. There's no mistakes. Well, I mean, I can make a mistake, but the learning part of it is the creative vibe that this sort of work is just, I find it thrilling. It's my favorite thing to be at this stage where the foundation is down. I've still got some joins to work on, and it's not backed yet, so I can put my knots through and not worry too much. So again, a quick update. It's backed with blanket. I think this was my Angora one, or mohair, and I left the original trim of the supper cloth, so it actually is scalloped around the edges, which again is very fitting, I think, for this season and the notion of a garden bed. I'm absolutely thrilled. This is just a little bit of sharing because, you know, I'm talking to my friends here and I like to share my excitement that I'm running this workshop in Melbourne and the bookings are coming in. And so if you're wondering about when I say flower to flower, mine is a collage style, and then in between the applique and the collages we embroider and add our favourite bits. And each piece of work ends up telling its own story because of the particular colours. So this quilt is very different to my Garden Through the Window series because it's a lot. I've been trying to work out how to describe it. This one seems a lot lighter to me. Lighter and brighter, maybe more blue, I think. But it's like the original, the doilies or the original piece gives you the colours. I hope that makes sense. Meaning I chose the cloth first and then I've been matching as I've gone along. And they happen to be the yellow mainly. Okay, that's enough of that area. Let's finish that off. So Thursday here, I've had a day of journal making and now it's gardening time. I'm not sure about you, but I tend to like stitching. Well, I would stitch all day, but I tend to stitch afternoons and evenings and work with paper and other mediums in the morning. Okay, I've got this left over and I've got this little bit here. I will leave that for green, but let's add look at this beautiful delicate bit. Not changed my mind. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy. Okay, over here. This bit of the bow has not been stitched down yet. So, different pink. I've left that knot out. Will it pull through? It should, but yep. And now we'll just go over the top here. Yeah, a home day, but an incredibly windy day outside, so no gardening in the real world. So I have to do it inside. which seems, I mean, my garden doesn't look like this. I was going to say it's much easier to make a beautiful garden this way. One of our trees has actually come down today, which makes me a bit sad. It's been battling, and just the wind made the decision. Nature made the decision for us, I think. So just building up texture. This is the pearl cotton going over wool here. I'm just doing that to use all the thread up. There. And it's also the end of the month, and on the weekend I'll be announcing my September part of the Bowerbird series, and I'm quite excited. Well, I'm always excited, so I shouldn't say I'm quite excited because you must get bored with me saying that. But yeah, this is a different one, and will be very complementary, I think, to what you may be working on or might like to start working on. All right, let's look here at these beautiful pink flowers, and let's help them stand out a little bit. So this is sort of a variegated mustard. I found a little plastic bag with some of these threaders to my relief. Why isn't that going through, Kate? Just now. I'm filming a little bit later, so it might be getting a little bit darker for you to see. So I probably won't go too much longer. I've got the lights on, but after filming in the daytime the other day, I just thought, oh, I love doing this. Okay, let's come up. I'll just, yeah, there is starting to be shadow. Can I do anything that's different there? Oh gosh, I'm moving a big light. See if that, there might be shadows, but maybe at least. Okay. Because this has sort of got some mustard in the centers, I'm thinking about, forgotten which way I like to backstitch. I mean, you can go anyway. Did I make a stitch? No, I didn't. They're a bit neat and tidy for me, aren't they? But that flower is inspiring me to do tinier stitches. The other thing I find about this work is, And just if you're new or you're someone who feels strongly about cutting out flowers, I never touch the embroidery, the flower itself. I hero it, and so as I'm going around this one, my eyes are looking at all the work in there and admiring it and thinking, now was that, it would have had to be one strand, wouldn't it, of thread. And the satin stitch, absolutely perfect. And then there's tiny, tiny little French knots in there. So it's sort of a history of embroidery session for me each time I do this. And on this one, I am going to add some of my individual flowers, starting from scratch as well. So it was good to sort of put it away for a few months and come back to it. I hope you like seeing her again. So there we are, just a little bit of definition. Around the edges. Because I left quite a lot of the background fabric on this piece. Sorry, I kept forgetting to go flat and all of that. See how we're going? I hope you like that. I'm happy with it. The pink stitch is where I've appliqued on, so this will be something a bit different. Actually, I think I'm going to just take the easy way out and go under there because the petal's near the leaf. And that would be hard, and we'll just start up here again. See, I'm going quiet. I'm lost in the gardening, the meditative process of being surrounded by flowers. I can tell you right now that this is enough of this little stitching for me, and I need to be flitting on to another flower. So that's why I call it one flower at a time, like a bee. There we go. Let's just go under there. there's the flower that was, and then the flower with this. So I'll definitely do that one, but maybe in a different color. It's like inventing, inventing new flowers as well. Okay, so I have a beautiful length of this left. We could go anywhere. How big? It's a perfect length for French knotting. Or maybe outlining. Well, no, I've done outlining. Let's do some dotties in mustard. Got some. Let's go up here. How about we put some in the midst of these very exciting big French knots that we're done with fluoro pink wool. Oh. So I'm just using them really as a filler and an interest and texture adder. I sort of feel better because that one stands out a little bit for being a wrong colour. So we'll put this all around, and oh, the perfect time for my thread to fall out. But I was tempted just to leave that hanging, but nope, follow through, Kate. Because it's my least favourite thing, threading needles. When I've already done it once. I hope you know what I mean. Oh, let's just get one more, 2, 3, and down she goes. Yep. Snag something there, so don't look. So I got stitches out yesterday, and that just reminded me of my dentist doing that. One snip. Okay. If I bought I've got my beading all set up in the other room, but I'd like to use some happy pink wool. Oh. Oh, look at that. I didn't need to use this threader. My friend Sarah from Threading Connect recommended some needles that she'd found on Amazon, and they've just all come together. I don't know what sort or weight or measurements, but gee, they're lovely to stitch with. She said I'd enjoy it, and I am indeed. Okay, pull that through. So I've done some stitching here. This is a flower that I've appliqued on with big stitches, but not gone all the way around. So now we're going to finish her off. So just a little bit there. And down. And then I want to do some colouring in. So I'm looking for a flower that needs something added to it. Or I could make my own. How about we make some more flowers over here, actually in this space. So this isn't a standing out flower, it's very simple, but it will just add interest to this little area here. And just remember, I'm not sort of one to follow for accuracy on how to make flowers, because I just literally don't plan them out, and I do them different every time. But a good needle makes it so much more enjoyable. There we are, we've got 3 little flowers there, and I've still got some thread left. So I'm going to stretch over into here and put some baby French knots into this little section between these big ones. That's 4. Will I get 5? Fingers crossed. Yep. Although the needle is very long. 1, 2. Oh. 1, 2. 1, 2. Let's just go with that. Oh, look, because this is going to fall out. Fingers crossed. Deep breath. Oh, it came out as a loop, which is fine. Okay, some thoughts on what I am going to do is more beading. I have this beautiful vintage doily still here in the center, and I'm thinking about pearls and I don't know what else with that. The bird is a work in progress, and I have plenty of gardening to be doing. So with that in mind, oh gosh, that's terrible, that line. I'm so sorry. My garden doesn't look as good as it should. Much, much better in reality. But for now, thanks for being with me. I hope you got some stitching done too. Until next time, Kate in the Nest is going bye-bye.